All right, hello, everybody, and welcome to Pharmacist Ben Bites. No, I am not Coach AJ, but I am here with the amazing Pharmacist Ben. Hello, Pharmacist Ben, and welcome.
Hello, Becca. How are you tonight, I should
I'm
say.
doing great. I'm
Good.
doing,
All right.
and so you sent over an article
Yes, I did do
which
that.
really hits on a lot of things that I don't think people realize.
Yes.
It
Why do you think I sent that article? Like, what do you think I noticed that made me want to send that to AJ?
Well, okay, so there's things that people think are unrelated,
Exactly.
but it's one system.
Exactly. That's so important. And it's important on several levels. The most fundamental level that this is important on is the level of our collective group beliefs. Like the average person, even not the average person, even smarter than average person, when they have a bone problem, they're going to go to the bone doctor. When they have a heart problem, they're going to go to the heart doctor. When they have a skin problem, they're going to the skin doctor, et cetera, et cetera. This idea of different parts of the body being treated with different protocols by different professionals is ancient. It's old. It's from a time gone by. It's not relevant anymore. But because it's generational, we learn from our mother, they learn from their mother, they learn from their mother, parents, mothers and fathers, and it goes generational. Nobody's breaking it. So here comes Ben, and not just me, but other healthcare professionals also. They're saying the emperor has no clothes. He's naked. The medical model is naked. It doesn't work because it tries to isolate all these parts. So when I read this article, it was a classic example of what we've been talking about, but now there's studies, which I hate these studies, that show that it's accurate. So in this particular study, they found that heart disease is related to fibroids. But what person with heart disease is going to go to an OBGYN for their heart disease? Or even better, is just going to try to treat it functionally. Most people go to cardiologists for their heart disease. They're not going to even think. The average person, and by the average person, I mean of the 350 million Americans or so, 349.9 million of them, when they have a heart problem, are going to go to the heart doctor. It's just the way we think. And until we break the trance, wake up from the trance, we're going to be going to the doctor for these kinds of isolated treatments, isolated protocols, isolated professionals and specialists, and nobody's going to get better because it's all connected. And by the way, based on the triangle of disease model, the uterine fibroids themselves can be backtracked to another part of the body, which is, of course, where? The two main points.
The digestive system.
And you wrote a book on the next point. You wrote a book on it.
Well, the metabolic syndrome.
Exactly. No, the metabolic system. The metabolic system is, just think about all the chemistry. Specifically, it's how we get energy, how we make energy. But really, metabolism is just all the chemical reactions, with some exceptions. Basically, it's all the chemistry in the body is metabolism. So you got the first point, which is, I like to think of the first point as the place where energy is produced in big chunks. And the second point is where energy is produced in quantum pieces. But it's all about energy. You eat, and presumably you get energy, whether it's quick energy or sustained energy. It's energy. That's where we get energy from. It's food, right? Nutrients, macronutrients, micronutrients. The second phase is how that energy gets produced intracellularly, actually in the mitochondria themselves. And when you think about it, the body's a circle. I call it a closed system. It's a circle, no openings, and everything's spinning around inside of it, right? Unfortunately, there's two. It's not exactly a closed system. You got two openings. You got one opening, and that's the food opening, and then you got an opening inside the cells. So it should be just kind of logical that the place where interference to the chemistry occurs is by what we're putting in our mouth. But there's a psychological hurdle. We don't eat for physical. We don't eat for physicality. We eat for psychology. Occasionally. And I know I can speak for myself. I know probably 1 or 2% of the times that I eat, I really needed to eat. And I know how this whole thing works. And I still find myself eating 99% of the time or 98% of the time psychologically. not because I absolutely needed to eat. Luckily, I don't have yet, who knows what's around the corner, I don't have a chronic disease, but 60% of Americans have at least one chronic disease. 40% have multiple chronic disease. Sit with that for a second. How do you have a culture where most of the people have a chronic disease? How is that even possible? How, with a human body that's designed to repair itself, how is it possible under the realm, the rulership, the control of brilliant medical model, our genius doctors? How could it possibly be? And I don't mean the individuals. They got to really make a distinction here. The individuals are good people, okay? But I'd be embarrassed to be a doctor. Like I'm embarrassed to be a pharmacist. I'd be embarrassed unless I was really doing, working biochemically. But if I was just following the party line and giving people what they, the standards of care, beta blockers for your hypertension and, calcium channel blockers for heart disease, et cetera, I'd be embarrassed. Look what you're doing to the people. Look at our country. You've got hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people with cancer and heart disease, multi-millions of people, tens, maybe hundreds of millions of people with diabetes and cancer and heart disease. And this is under your control. This is your kingdom. It's because it doesn't work. People, the medical model doesn't work. It works for broken legs. And when you get hit by a car, that's what it's for. Everything else is lifestyle. So back to fibroids. The intestine contains a group of bacteria that process estrogen. These bacteria communicate with the gallbladder. And the gallbladder also, bile, that is, processes estrogen. The gallbladder and the liver and the intestine operate with food, they operate with sugar, or they operate on sugar, and they operate on hormones. Those three areas, that nexus, the gallbladder, the liver, and the intestine. There's other places, obviously the stomach and the pancreas, there's other places too, but that triad is responsible for the diabetes, the female health problems, and obviously for the digestive problems. So it's simple. If you have fibroids, or for that matter, if you have endometriosis, or if you have dysmenorrhea, or if you have fibromyalgia, or if you have infertility, or if you have PCOS, or if you have a whole spectrum of female health issues, including fibroids, you focus on intestinal health and the microbiome, you focus on the gallbladder and bile, and you focus on liver health. And I'll tell you how you do that in a second, but you have a question?
Well, I was just going to point out, but then you said female, that this is pertaining more to women.
Yes, because women's
Even though
hormones
men have estrogen as well, they still have
absolutely.
the gallbladder. They still have to
Absolutely.
pay attention to what's going in their mouth.
Absolutely, but women produce much more estrogen than men. That's what makes them women. It's no accident that most chronic degenerative diseases affect women. Autoimmune diseases affect women primarily. Hypothyroidism affects women primarily. Depression affects women primarily. Female health issues obviously affect women. So women are the main victims of the chronic disease process. Now, that's true. Men obviously suffer from it too. But in pharmacy school, we used to call estrogen the S-show hormone. Okay? That was the name of estrogen. And so this craziness of pounding estrogen with HRT in people is, from a biomedical perspective, is absurd. It's craziness. Absolute craziness. Estrogen is so complicated. And there's not just estrogen. There's dozens of different estrogens in the body. They give you 3 if you're lucky. Sometimes they just give you 1. And then that's supposed to, and they do that based on your hormone tests. Your hormones change every hour. They change with what you eat. They change with what you think. They change with your environment. They change with your metabolism. They're changing all the time. You can't, and HRT is such a big business. So we as individuals, we as consumers, we as patients, we have to begin to separate the medical model from the profit model. If we don't separate the two, the medical model will become the profit model, and we will become, as Dr. Wallach used to say, ATM machines. And that's where we're at. And so what do? So that's the problem. We all know what the problem is. So what do? First of all, you focus on intestinal health. I'm all about simplification. I want to take big, complex ideas and make them simple. The simplest way to reduce the biochemical disturbances in the body that lead to all chronic degenerative diseases is to focus on the intestine. Period. The only problem with that is it's going to require a little bit of psychological desire, because you're going to have to change the way you eat, and you're going to have to eat a lot less. We talked about this last time. Eating activates a stress response. It activates an inflammatory response. Just regular food does this. So we want to get eating under control. We want to eat like a lion. And I'm not saying this to beat anybody up, because like I said, I eat crappy and I eat when I'm not supposed to eat either. But if you have a disease, we're talking about here is for people who are suffering from fibroids or endometriosis or dysmenorrhea or PCOS or whatever it is. This represents your solution. There's no solution in the doctor's office. None. And I wish I had an OBGYN that I could talk to in front of everybody, so that I wouldn't have to just talk behind their back. There's nothing they can do, but there's so much we can do. If you want to prove it to yourself, you have endometriosis or fibromyalgia or some kind of menstrual issue or ovarian issue or uterine issue or female health issue, fast and watch what happens when you fast. Now, obviously, you can't fast forever. You got to eat eventually, but fast for a couple of days. Watch what happens. Do a water fast. Watch what happens. Now, I was talking about this complex of bacteria they're called the estrobolome. Estrobolome, the estrobolome. It's a complex of bacteria that live in the intestine that are responsible for processing and clearing out estrogen. The reason we used to call estrogen the estro hormone, you know what I'm talking about, right? Is because estrogen is so complex, because it gets broken down into many different derivatives, and it's so powerful. It's the most powerful of all the steroid hormones. And so, given its complexity and its power, the body wants to eliminate it quickly. How does it eliminate it? By detoxification. The bacteria help detoxify it. The bile help detoxify it. It gets eliminated out of the body. Bowel movements. It's processed in the liver. That triad, the intestine, the liver, and the gallbladder, that's where it gets detoxified and processed. But we know 100+ million Americans have liver disease. Probably at least that many people or more have intestinal disease. Many people have had their gallbladder taken out. The gallbladder stores bile. The bile, we always talk about bile for digestion, right? When you eat food, it goes into the stomach, goes into the intestine. Right when it hits the intestine from the stomach, you get a blast of bile, and that bile helps break up the fats, and that's part of the digestive process. But then the bile continues in the intestine, where it clears things out. It clears out waste. What's supposed to happen if you're having a bowel movement, that gets eliminated out of your body. But if you're not having appropriate bowel movements, that bile can recirculate. And now it's got the poisons, the waste material still in it, and it recirculates. And then it gets shot out again the next time you eat food, and then it clears out more toxins, but you're not having a bowel movement. It recirculates again. Now it gets stickier and sludgier. And it keeps doing this until finally you end up with gallstones, or you end up with some kind of sludgy bile, some kind of toxic bile. So the fact that the bile is clearing out estrogen, clearing out toxins, helping you digest your food, it creates a certain level of complexity, which is why you got to keep the bile clean. And the best way to keep the bile clean is to be careful about what you're eating. To make matters even worse, the bacteria in the estrobolome can reactivate estrogen. Instead of detoxifying it, they can reactivate it, making it even more powerful. It's already powerful, but they can make it even more powerful. And then the estrogen can recirculate in the body. Now, I'm giving you all the inside baseball here, the scoop, but you don't need to know that. I'm only giving you the scoop because it's interesting and it kind of validates what I'm going to say here. Change the way you eat, especially around fats, number one. That's the most important, is the fats, because the fats are the most difficult to process, and obviously bile plays a role with the fat. So be very careful. That's make sure you're using your ultimate EFAs. The ultimate EFAs are almost like a natural anti-inflammatory, natural healing molecule. They almost act like estrogen, actually. So you have to make sure you're pounding the essential fats and that you're absorbing the essential fats as well as fatty vitamins, particularly A and D. Probably to a certain extent E as well, but especially A and D. And then all the things you could do to support the microbiome, the bacteria. Probiotics are definitely important, but also prebiotics can help too. And that is the fiber. Now, if you're dealing with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you got to address that as well. And you'll know you're dealing with SIBO is if you bloat when you eat mushy foods, the FODMAPs foods, those are the mushy ones, pears, dried fruit, things that have a little avocado, things that have mush to them. I'm not sure. I think avocados are probably in there too. Anything that has a little mushy quality to it. Pears are the classic example. And then there's that very problematic molecule called histamine. Now, I don't know a lot of people talking about histamine, except we talk about it all the time, because it's extremely important to understand that histamine is an intestinal molecule that's secreted out of intestinal cells called mast cells. And if you have leaky gut, that histamine can end up going into the bloodstream. And the real problematic thing about histamine is there are foods that are good foods. This is why I hate that good food, bad food list, because it's so misleading. People say, oh, I'm only eating the good foods. I'm not eating any of the bad foods. Well, guess what? Miso, kombucha, sauerkraut, tuna fish, smoked tuna, canned tuna, not fresh tuna, or not sushi, but canned tuna, smoked fish, anything that has vinegar, eggplant, spinach, avocados, ripe bananas, ripe produce in general. All of these are high histamine foods. And then there are foods that trigger histamine. Citrus fruits. You ever hear people say they're allergic to oranges?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's allergic to oranges. That doesn't happen. However, oranges can trigger histamine. They stimulate white blood cells to release their histamine, mast cells to release histamine. Egg whites, milk, shellfish. Yeah, I have people say they have shellfish allergies. No, it's a histamine response. Chocolate, nuts, wine, all of these can be problematic when it comes to histamine. So, the list can be exhaustive, but it's important for people to realize two things. Number one, this does not happen in a vacuum. It doesn't just, you didn't just get endometriosis or uterine fibroids or fibromyalgia or whatever it is. It doesn't just happen. Secondly, we have tremendous control over it. Tremendous. Not by going to the OBGYN though, by doing it ourselves. And the way to prove it is to fast and to stop eating. That's the way you prove it. And I said before, it's obviously you have to eat eventually, but just fast and you'll notice you feel better. Then when you eat, either pay attention to eat or eat as usual and notice when what foods trigger a response. That's why food diary is so important. We have a food diary at criticalhealthnews.com. So this is not difficult, but it's impossible if you try to do it the medical route. There's nothing they could do. And the last thing, well, not the last thing, but the next last thing, don't let them take your organs. Do not let them take your organs. They love to take organs out. Insurance pays for it. There's tens of, not hundreds of thousands of dollars in organ removal, and then they'll give you hormones. It's crazy. Do not do a hysterectomy unless you want to suffer for the rest of your life with be on hormone replacement therapy and have whacked out female hormones the rest of your life. It's crazy. Unless you have a tumor or you have cancer, that's different. And even cancer and a tumor, that's the end result of all these things we're talking about. But if you have cancer, that's different. But just to get rid of endometriosis, heavy periods, or fibroids or whatever, no, that's not the solution. And so we have tremendous, number one, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. Number two, we have tremendous power over the process. In fact, it makes more sense to look at your fibroids or your endometriosis or whatever it is, PCOS, or any of your female health issues, as a sign, as a signal, not as a problem, but as a poke. Hey, you're doing something wrong here. Let's fix this. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of reframes the things we call symptoms that we go to the doctor should be reframed as messages, as language, as the body speaking to us. And when the body speaks to us, the appropriate response is not shut up, body, right? It's not I'm going to just cut your tongue out, body. The appropriate response is what's wrong. don't you think? We want to look at our bodies like our babies. You know, your baby's crying. Yeah, you cut your baby's tongue out, it won't cry anymore. But you don't do that. You could poison your baby, it won't cry anymore, give it some chlorohydrate or some Benadryl sleeping pills, and it won't cry anymore. But that's what we're doing to our bodies. I mean, that sounds repulsive. You know, it sounds gross, right? I can see in your face. But that's what we're doing to our bodies. And nobody thinks about that. We're living in this crazy upside down world, and the proof of it is how miserable everybody is, despite the fact that we have all the healthcare tools and protocols and devices and surgical procedures and medications and know-how that we could possibly want. We know all the molecular systems. We know all of the genetic systems. We know all the enzymes. We know all the stuff about the tiny little minutia of the body, but we're still dying on the vine. So for estrogen, any estrogen issues, number one, intestinal health. First point on the triangle of disease. Do a food diary, stay away from problem foods, do your digestive support supplements, focus on fats, EFAs and fatty vitamins, make sure you're doing your plant-derived minerals. Intestinal health. Number two, metabolic health. There's a very important relationship between the blood sugar system and the digestive system via the liver and the gallbladder and the intestine, as I said. So it's a short jump from intestinal problems to metabolic problems, and we know 100 plus million Americans have liver disease, non-alcoholic liver disease. They have to call it non-alcoholic because it's the same liver disease that 50 years ago you'd have to be drinking a pint of vodka out of a paper bag every day to get, and now everybody gets it. So they call it non-alcoholic. They even changed the name, forgot the new name of it. Why do I have an echo? Are you echoing? I have an echo here.
I'm not quite sure why you have an echo. I don't hear it.
Okay, so let me see if I can switch here. All right, so and then intestinal health, then the blood sugar system. Get on the healthy blood sugar pack, chromium, vanadium, ketogenic diet, low calorie, niacin, ultimate niacin, magnesium. Magnesium is probably the most important female hormone, also the most important blood sugar hormone, and magnesium deficiency is very, very common. A case could be made, I hate to say what the most important is, but a case could be made that magnesium is the most important nutrient to supplement with, very important for intestinal health, for bowel movements. And then third of all, work on your estrogen directly with progesterone. Progesterone is estrogen's non-toxic balancing cousin. Progesterone and estrogen work together. Progesterone balances out estrogen. Progesterone is like the exact opposite of estrogen. While estrogen is the most toxic of all the steroid hormones, progesterone is among the least toxic. And it balances out estrogen. And by the way, men benefit from progesterone too. I make a great progesterone serum topically applied. If anybody's interested, go to truthtreatments.com and get either contact me and I'll get you Pro Harmony. Great for all estrogenic health issues. Remember, estrogen is responsible for a lot of things. So for fibroids, problem periods, sensitive breasts or fibroid breasts or fibromyalgia, inflammation with your period, progesterone is amazing. Also for hot flashes. And by the way, menopausal symptoms are very similar to histamine symptoms. The hot flashes, that's a histamine symptom. The anxiety, that could be a histamine symptom. The sweats, that could be a histamine symptom. So it's hard to distinguish sometimes between estrogen and histamine. Also, estrogen will make histamine more difficult to, will reduce the breakdown of histamine. Low estrogen will reduce the breakdown of histamine. There's a molecule called DAO, diamine oxidase. And changes in estrogen will affect diamine oxidase and cause histamine to be released, or cause histamine to build up, I should say. It'll eliminate the processing of histamine. So anybody who has any of these kinds of issues, DAO might be something that you want to consider, and you can get that. That's readily available on the internet. Diamine oxidase. It's a histamine metabolizing enzyme. Also, vitamin C can help you metabolize. Can help break down. Can help detoxify estrogen. There's a few things you could do. Melatonin might help. Essential fatty acids are probably the best thing you can do. So there's a lot you could do. This article was really interesting to me because it linked heart disease to to uterine fibroids. So what's the relationship between heart disease? Well, it turns out fibroids are not just lumps in the uterus, they're a whole body disease. If you have fibroids, you probably have insulin resistance, you probably have inflammation, you probably have hypertension, you probably have some kind of metabolic issues, metabolic syndrome issues. So if you have fibroids, it's likely that you have other things that can cause heart disease. And according to this article, women who had a hysterectomy, they had a modest increase in cardiovascular problems over the following 5 years. But compared with women who had no surgery, if you had a hysterectomy, you had more heart attacks, more strokes, more hypertension, more obesity. It wasn't a huge increase, but it was measurable. It's all connected. Women who had a hysterectomy also showed a modest increase in cardiovascular health issue. And this was a study looked at 60,000 women with fibroids. I'm not a big believer in these kinds of studies. Nonetheless, the fact is if you have fibroids, you have a metabolic issue that's affecting your whole body. It's not just a localized fiber in the uterus. And that's how you want to look at it. Fats, intestinal health, metabolic, work on metabolic syndrome, liver, blood sugar issues. Later on, if you really want to go all out, you can start working with your thyroid and you can start working the adrenal health. But for the most part, you're gonna notice a dramatic improvement in all estrogenic inflammatory conditions, and that includes, by the way, skin conditions, by fasting and working on blood sugar, dysglycemia, we'll say, metabolic syndrome. Okay,
so yeah, Pharmacist Ben, I have a question. So how connected are insulin resistance and estrogen metabolism to fibroid growth?
Intimately connected. There's a major relationship between estrogen and insulin. And first of all, estrogen makes things grow. What is estrogen's main role in the body?
To make things grow.
Number one. But make what grow?
Let's see, breasts, babies.
Babies. Estrogen is the baby-making hormone. Yes, it makes everything grow. That's true, but it's a baby-making hormone. Now, by the way, I forgot to mention xenoestrogens in the water and in plastics and in fragrances and in cosmetic ingredients like sunscreens and preservatives. Do you know sunscreens are estrogenic? Every time I talk about sunscreens on TikTok, I get these knucklehead dermatologists screaming at me. Oh, how can you tell people about sunscreens going out in the sun, blah, blah, blah. They're among the most estrogenic chemicals in the whole cosmetic, of all cosmetic ingredients. Parabens and preservatives likewise. So estrogen is everywhere. And that's because estrogen is not really chemical, it's a family, it's a structure. And it's found everywhere throughout nature and throughout the industrial, throughout the synthetic industrial the list of synthetic synthetic molecules, especially something called phthalates. There's estrogens everywhere. That's another reason why you want to be doing progesterone, to help protect yourself from the xenoestrogens. And then, so I didn't want to complicate things. Basically, if you have any estrogenic issue, focus on fats, intestine, blood sugar, and liver health, and the gallbladder and bile.
Since you brought up sunscreen.
Oh yeah. You're gonna make me talk about sunscreens. Let me just talk to you really quickly about estrogen, insulin. Insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone. It's a growth hormone. It's a growth promoting hormone. Estrogen is also a growth promoting hormone. So between insulin and estrogen, you got two major stimulators of inflammation, two major stimulators of cell growth, two major stimulators of stress, oxidative stress. Both of them will promote blood vessel formation, and fibroids thrive in this kind of environment. High insulin can also increase estrogen activity. So insulin potentizes estrogen. When insulin goes up, more free estrogen is going to circulate, and estrogen activity will circulate. That means you can have normal estrogen levels on a blood test, but you can still have excessive estrogen effects because the hormone that you have is more active. Do you follow? Did you follow that? You want me to say that again?
I follow. And does that have anything to do with estrogen dominance in men?
Yes, estrogen dominance in everybody. Estrogen dominance in women and in men. estrogen dominance in women is what we're talking about here. The estrogen recirculates, it's not detoxified, you get lots of estrogen in your body. If you have elevated insulin, that makes it even more potent. Histamine will also potentize estrogen. So if you have estrogen problems, you may have digestive problems. Estrogen is very inflammatory. It can inflame the intestine. You get leaky gut. Look, you can talk about this all day long, the mechanisms. It's very fascinating. I think they're very fascinating. But I don't want people to get confused here because I don't want people to tune out. The solution is intestinal health, liver health, gallbladder health. There's nothing you could do about the uterus. Let me say that again. There's nothing you can do about the uterus. There's nothing you can do about the uterus directly. But by working on the intestine and the estrobolome and bile and the liver, you can work on the female health, on the female organs. This is why they give you hysterectomies, or they ablate, or they remove the fibroids. They can't really do anything metabolically to the uterus because it's a secondary system. Just like they can't do anything to the heart. Do you guys get that? You can't work on the secondary organs. You can only work on the root. You can't work on the fruit. The uterus is the fruit. The heart's the fruit. You can only work on the root, and that's the intestine, gallbladder, liver, the digestive system in general. Pancreas is also involved, and the stomach is also involved, of course. So, the digestive system in general, but especially the liver, intestine, gallbladder. And if anybody has an OBGYN, I'd love to, tell them to come on the program so we can talk to them directly, so we can hear what they have to say. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. We do have some people here on with us and have some questions.
Yes.
Kiana wants to know.
Kiana's a perfect example. Kiana, put her on. Kiana's a very beautiful lady. We want to see Kiana's face. Come on, Kiana. Show up.
She doesn't have her camera on. So
oh, Kiana.
Can you turn your camera on, my dear?
Kiana.
Oh, no.
I want to see your pretty face. Come on, Kiana.
No, I'm so sorry. I
Come
can't
on.
do it
No. Come on. You're so beautiful. I got to look at the big K. Okay, that's all right. Go ahead, Kiana. Yes.
Yeah, so
Which one? I forgot. You're the one of the twins, right?
Yes, one of the twins. I'm the one.
What's your mom's name?
Antoinette. She's in here as well. She's in
Hi, Antoinette. Hi, Antoinette. So, Kiana, you're the gal that had the histamine issue, and you were eating avocados, wasn't that you?
Exactly. That's me. You have a great memory, Ben.
Yeah, I remember you. So, what's going on? How you feeling, by the way?
Yeah, so not good. So, I actually had a surgery.
What'd you have?
Hysteroscopy.
Hysterectomy. Wait a minute. Did you have a hysterectomy?
No.
Hysteroscopy?
Hysteroscopy, yeah.
That's when they just looked. They didn't take anything out.
No, they did. They went in through the
What'd they take out?
my lady parts and took
They went in
out
through your lady
fibroids.
parts. What?
Two fibroids.
They took out the fibroids. Okay. So you had the fibroids. Now, the fibroids, did you understand everything we just talked about?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so
yes,
here's the problem. Here's the problem. They took out the fibroids. That's good. Because the fibroids themselves will throw off your hormones. But they took out the fibroids. But they haven't changed the problem. Those are going to come back. The fibroids don't just disappear. They come back. Unless you change the chemistry that led to the fibroids. You follow me?
Yes, I'm following you.
Are you still a vegan? Are you still a vegan? Are you still a vegan?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I now eat shellfish.
Okay. What's the protocol you say that you're on?
Oh, so AJ has me on RTQ and all of the supplements that you mentioned earlier.
Foods. What are you doing for foods? What are you doing for foods?
For foods, I'm taking in more protein, more fiber.
Specific foods. Like, did you eliminate any foods? Did you add certain foods? What did you do for foods? I remember you were eating a lot of histamine foods. Did you study histamine? Did you study histamine?
I did. So I'm no longer eat because I started eating eggs for a short bit. I'm no longer eating eggs because they do cause flare-ups. Obviously, the avocados, like we discussed before, I cut those out, and I'm increasing my fat, such as like olives.
Okay.
And
are you noticing that you feel better? Are you noticing that you feel better, feel different?
No, I'm still extremely bloated. It's still very difficult for me to have BMs.
Okay, the bloating is perfect. The bloating is absolutely perfect. It's the best thing. You know why?
Why?
Because the bloating is going to give you real-time information. Because you're only going to bloat a few hours after you eat a certain food.
Okay.
So in other words, you eat a food, it goes into your stomach, then it drops into your intestine. When it drops into your intestine, it's going to feed bacteria in the intestine, and that's going to cause bloating. The bloating is a response to the bacteria eating the food you're eating, or not eating it, but processing it. You follow me? So that's your best friend, is the bloating. That will tell you exactly what you're eating that's a problem. Okay?
Well, it's everything, man. I drink water and I bloat. It's everything.
Okay, if that's everything, then you got some serious digestive problems. Absolutely. So what you want to start doing is you want to look into, and you're a smart lady, and that's going to work in your favor. Okay. So you want to look into something called SIBO. SIBO.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah, I can take that test.
Okay. Yes, and you can have it. You can have a test done, but you probably don't need it because it sounds like that's what you're dealing with. So SIBO is the bacteria that cause SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That means the bacteria are only supposed to live in the large intestine, not a little bit in the small intestine, but for the most part in the large intestine. Why do you suppose you want most of your bacteria in the large intestine, not the small intestine? Use your just logic. Think about it and use logic.
I don't know.
Okay. So the large intestine doesn't have food in it. The small intestine has food in it.
Okay.
So if you have food plus you have bacteria, those bacteria are going to go to town. Okay. They're going to have an all-you-can-eat buffet. Okay. So what you're probably dealing with is this condition. There's a couple things you could do. Do you know what I-26 is from Longevity?
I have it.
Are you using it?
I take it. I use it every night.
How much do you take?
A scoop, one scoop every night.
Triple it. Do one scoop 3 times. Do it, triple it 3 times a day. Okay? Okay. And then I'm not supposed to say this because Rebecca's going to get mad. I don't want to make Rebecca mad. Look into essential oils for SIBO. Okay. Okay, because I don't want Rebecca to get all mad at me. She got mad the last time I said something about it, but just look into it. Can I say that, Rebecca? Is that all right?
I won't get mad about essential oils. It's just
I said
ingesting them.
Yes, I'm not going to say anything, Kiana. You just look up essential oils for SIBO, and you do your own research on that. Okay.
Okay, but I'm taking the Tangerine, the Beyond.
That's good.
Osteo,
That's good.
EFA,
That's all good. That's all good. But we got to work on your intestinal health for 2 reasons. There are 2 reasons here. Number one, if you have an inflamed intestine, toxicity is going to get into the blood, and that's where you run into the fibroids. That's number one. Number two, if you have an inflamed intestine, you're not going to absorb your nutrients. So you're going to be functionally starving, functionally malnourished. Yeah. So now you got toxicity plus malnourishment. So your body's trying to fight something, but it doesn't have the nutrients. So you got to work on the intestine, the core of everything. You know, there's a reason. I don't know. Did you ever play basketball? I think you told me you play basketball, right?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know how they tell you to watch the belly? Like, don't worry about what the guy's doing with his head or with his hands or his legs. Watch the belly. The belly doesn't lie. The intestine doesn't lie. The center of the body. That's what you want to focus on. For all metabolic issues, the center of the body. They call it the Dantian center in Chinese medicine. You want to focus on the center of the body. That's the intestine. That's where everything is. And then the liver and the gallbladder are associated. Now, do you have your gallbladder? I assume you have your gallbladder.
Yes.
Your menstrual cycles must be all whacked out too.
Oh my gosh, it's
even worse. I can only imagine. It's worse after the surgery. Is it worse after the surgery?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go. You know, that's not the solution. The surgery is not the solution. They never change the metabolism. So you'll know you're on the right track when you don't bloat. Do you miss periods? Are they really heavy? Are they painful?
I'm changing every hour.
You're like super heavy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because you're very, very inflamed, and you probably have histamine issues as well.
Yeah.
All of that is indicative of histamine issues. I wish I was there with you because you're doing something wrong.
I am, smart. And
I don't know what you're doing. Why don't you? Well, I don't know what you're doing wrong either because I only talk to you a few minutes, every month or every couple months. So why don't you do this, Kiana? Why don't you call me?
Okay.
Get my number from AJ and just give me a call, and I'll work with you. Okay, because you're a smart lady. This should be something that you deal with. This corrected almost immediately. Yeah, you should have a relief almost immediately. So so get my number from AJ, and then I want you to write down every morsel of food that you eat and don't worry about a diary yet. You'll have to do a diary too, but I want to see the list of them.
Okay.
Everything you eat for a week.
Okay.
Just write everything you put in your mouth. Just write it down, and then when you call me, give me a list, and we can go over it, because it's clearly you're not on the right track, but it's definitely intestinal. Now, bloating is a major. It's a sign, but it's a good thing because that's giving you real-time information. Okay, Kiana? So
thank you.
So here's your action steps. You're going to call AJ, get my number.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to write down every single thing you eat for about like a week or so, and then call me and we'll go over it and we'll work with you.
Okay. In the meantime, is it okay to take or to use wild yam cream topically?
It's not going to change. You're not even going to notice it. It's not going to hurt you, but you're not going to notice it.
Okay. Okay.
You got way bigger fish to fry. Okay?
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. And we'll hear from you soon, I hope. Thank you, Kiana. Thank you, Antoinette. Good to not see you. I mean, not good to not see you, but nice to hear you.
All right. Well, Pharmacist Ben, we have lots of questions.
Oh, okay.
And one of the first questions that we have, where'd they go? Or one of the questions is I'm menopausal.
And I'm having all the symptoms.
Please tell me what I do. And I stopped HRT.
So, ask this person if they're a wine and cheese and chocolate person.
Ask them what?
Wine and cheese and chocolate. Are you a wine, cheese, chocolate person?
All right, Mrs. Ameritina, are you a chocolate, wine, and cheese kind of gal? I don't have a response yet.
Okay, so anyway, I'll answer it and then we'll wait for her to respond. Menopausal symptoms need to be regarded mostly as, surprise, surprise, first point on the triangle of disease. Histamine.
And she said no.
Okay, good. So here's what you need to do, okay? Number one, you want to fast for a day or two, okay? 2 is better than 1, but at least 1. No food for a day or 2. Watch what happens to your symptoms. Almost guaranteed your symptoms will subside. I'm almost guaranteeing that, okay? 99%, okay? Because as long as there's no input, you think about what a night sweat is or anxiety or jitteriness, all that's energy. It has to come from somewhere. So as long as there's no energy being inputted into the body and you're not activating that stress response, everything should calm down. So fasting is your best friend first, okay? That's first. Now, there may be an outside chance that it's not going to help, but almost guaranteed it will. Then when you start eating again, notice what foods trigger the issues. And then you're going to eliminate those foods. Simultaneous with all of this, not the fast, but after you start eating again, you want to be doing all the digestive support, including I-26, nightly essence, ultimate enzymes, Fucoid Z. Fucoid Z should be regarded as intestinal support, by the way, for the gut, or for leaky gut. Also, collagen peptides, if you can do glucogel caps, anything to build the intestinal lining. So you're going to focus on intestinal health. Now, if you have any weight issues or blood pressure issues, chances are you're also dealing with metabolic syndrome. The odds are pretty good you're going to be dealing with metabolic syndrome if I had to guess. But especially if you have weight issues, if you're gaining weight around the middle, or if you have a hypertension, high blood pressure, or if you have any other kinds of inflammatory issues, blood sugar, you're going to have to control blood sugar. And blood sugar is elevated by the most benign foods that you wouldn't think would elevate your blood sugar, just like toast can elevate your blood sugar. So you want to be very careful about your blood sugar. I would get a blood sugar meter and test your blood sugar first thing in the morning and then after meals. After meals, it'll spike, but you don't want it to spike too much. You want to know where it is after meals, but mostly first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, you want to see where your blood sugar is. If your blood sugar is high first thing in the morning, chances are pretty good you're dealing with some kind of blood sugar issue. If you had to guess, I would say there's blood sugar problems anyway. So I would treat yourself like a diabetic as well. And that means metabolic syndrome. Things like the Sweeties, the healthy blood sugar pack, And also, I want to ask this gal if she has any other symptoms aside from the menopausal symptoms. Do you have any mental health issues or memory issues or brain fog issues? Do you have any cardiovascular health issues or blood pressure issues? Anything like that? Other symptoms aside from menopausal symptoms? Is she answering? Are you reading? I can't hear you if you're talking. Rebecca, I can't.
She was in the room. She says, can you say everything? I need again. No, we're not going to say everything, but you can go back and listen to this live again and again and again. She does not have any mental health issues. She is taking sweeties. She does have high blood pressure.
Okay. Okay, so any cardiovascular, any heart health issues? Arrhythmias, atrial fibrillation.
Let me see what she answers.
Tachycardia.
And it is Antoinette.
It's Antoinette?
Who is.
Oh, yeah. This is Antoinette. Antoinette. I know I think I know. I remember Antoinette. I don't know Antoinette.
But I remember. Mom.
I know. I remember seeing Antoinette. So Antoinette almost guaranteed is dealing with insulin resistance on top of everything else. Yeah. So first things first.
Thyroid nodule.
Okay. It's all part of the same syndrome. So the most important thing, Antoinette and Kiana and everybody else listening, the most important thing is when you take care of the root, the fruit will naturally take care of itself. So we want to take care of the root. The root is where the soil is, and the soil is the intestine. It's no accident that they say, people soil themselves. You ever hear that term, soil themselves? The soil is the intestine. The bacteria live there. It's soil. That's the root of everything. And that's where you got to focus on. That's why fasting is so important, because when you fast, all of a sudden that input, that flow of energy into the system stops and everything settles down. Right? As long as the water, think of a cup of water. As long as your water is jiggling around like this, there's going to be activity, there's going to be action. But as soon as you stop the water, it settles down. You want to stop everything. That's why fasting is so important. So fasting stops the movement. All of this stuff you're talking about, the hot flashes, the night sweats, the anxiety, the hyperthyroid, the thyroid nodules, all of those are the result of hyperactivity, metabolically speaking. We want to calm everything down. Fasting is the quickest way to calm everything down. If you want to throw in something else, slow, deep breathing can also calm everything down. Calming the body down is very important. And then, things like meditation and just being still. And the Bible says, be still and know that I'm God, right? When you're still, when everything is still, the truth is revealed. Good health is revealed. All the positive stuff is revealed when we're still. So you want to still the body. And you still the body metabolically. The fastest way to still the body metabolically is not putting energy into it by fasting. And a water fast is awesome. Yes, water fast is great. Somebody's asking about a water fast.
Okay, excellent.
But what that Antoinette is describing, everything Antoinette is describing falls under this under the umbrella of metabolic syndrome. The thyroid, the hypertension, the menopausal symptoms, that's all metabolic syndrome, which itself is secondary to intestinal health.
And as AJ wants to remind us, you fix the root. Don't fix the fruit. Fix the root.
You can't fix the fruit.
No. You
can't fix the fruit, you fix the root. Okay.
So go ahead. We do want to say hello to everybody who is joining us. Thank you so much. We've got lots of questions coming in.
I only got time for a couple more here.
Okay, next question. I got to scroll up to the top. Okay, so Notorious Steph wants to know about the glucuronolactone.
Glucuronolactone. What do you want to know about glucuronolactone?
So it's one of the new products that Youngevity is offering, which is a hydration drink, electrolyte drink called Refresh FX, has this in it, which is known for gut lining health, positive response to stressors and brain health, and seems to help out for chronic IBS, leaky gut, and ulcers. Maybe.
So glucuronolactone is how you say it, glucuronolactone, is a breakdown product, a derivative of glucose. The liver will break down glucose to produce glucuronolactone, which then gets converted into this stuff called glucuronic acid. Glucuronic acid is a very powerful detoxifier, one of the most important detoxifiers in the body, especially for estrogen, by the way. So glucuronolactone has detoxification properties. It's also a very important part of the connective tissue for cartilage and for ligaments. It's a structural component of the connective tissue. It's marketed in energy drinks because it's supposed to help boost energy. There's some conflicting literature on there, but the thinking is that it's part of helping improve resistance training. But whether or not it works that way, I can't say for sure. It's possible, but its more important role is as a precursor to glucuronic acid for detoxification and as a component of connective tissue. That's its most important role. If you take too much, it can cause some headaches or dizziness. There's no real, it's pretty non-toxic unless you take too much. But its most important role is for detoxification as being part of the connective tissue. Although there is some literature that indicates it may help improve performance, but there's not really a lot of evidence to show that. Good. Anything else?
Yes. Well, and I know we have it, and my partner is loving it.
As for energy?
Well, for his workout drink.
For his workout drink, but he's not just doing the glucuronolactone; he's doing other things too, right?
No, it's the Refresh-FX, and then I make him put in a mineral stick.
What's in the Refresh-FX? What's in the Refresh-FX?
I will pull that up as we go to the next question, if we don't mind.
Yeah.
There's a long list here.
Yeah, so how do you know it's the glucuronolactone?
Well, that's what, I don't know that it is specifically that, but that is what notorious
I don't,
is asking about.
Yeah, I'm not, it may help.
Refresh-FX.
Yeah, I don't think it's the glucuronolactone that's doing it. What other things, are there B vitamins in there or caffeine or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the glucuronolactone. Glucuronolactone will support liver health, so you may get better metabolism, but it's not going to give you. I know it's an energy drink. I've just never seen any really compelling mechanism to describe how it would help you with energy. If anybody knows, I'm all ears.
Well, it does have vitamin A, D, E, thiamine, niacin, B6, B12.
The B vitamins. The B vitamins will give you the energy, that's for sure. Is there caffeine in there too?
And the pantothenic acid, zinc, chloride, sodium, and then it's in the proprietary blend that has the glucuronolactone.
Does it have? Yeah, it has green tea. That's caffeine. Does it have guarana or yerba mate or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, probably the green tea.
It does have inositol.
There's inositol. Green tea will give you a little buzz. I'd have to see the ingredients on there, but I don't know that the glucuronolactone will give you the energy. Although I know it's an energy drink, so that's true.
And for those that are really, really into making sure that they're gluten-free, it is also gluten-free.
Okay.
So Pharmacist Ben, in the chat for you, I just put the ingredients if you want to take a quick little look-see.
I do want to look at the ingredients. Oh, here it is. Okay. Proprietary blend, green tea, fructose. Does he say it gives him energy? Is that what he's noticing?
It just makes him feel good. He's got good energy.
It could be a lot. There's no way to know what it is, but I would doubt it's the glucuronolactone that's doing it. Glucuronolactone. Glucuronolactone's claim to fame is for detox, but it's also, as I said earlier, it's also a component of connective tissue, so it'll help you there too. Okay, let's do a couple more.
All right. Well, so there's another question in regards to our topic today.
Yeah. Yes.
And what is the role that magnesium, selenium, omega-3s, or vitamin D play in women with fibroids?
They're all individual. They all play very important roles. Vitamin D, there's a reason why you keep hearing about vitamin D. It's incredibly important. It's not even a vitamin, it's a hormone. And it is phenomenally important, and many people are deficient in it. The reason it's called a vitamin is because you can be deficient in it. Hormones your body makes. Vitamin D is a hormone, but your body doesn't make it. It has hormone effects, but your body doesn't make it, so you can be deficient in this hormone. It's an activator. It works with calcium, and it's actually calcium that's the activator, but vitamin D is important for calcium absorption. So you can think of vitamin D as an activator. Without vitamin D, nothing works. And because most people are deficient in vitamin D, most people are operating suboptimally or subefficiently, not as efficiently as they could be. So vitamin D is important for everything. There's not a single cell in the body that does not benefit from vitamin D. Magnesium plays a very important role in female health issues. It's important for detoxification as well. And then it helps balance out calcium. Calcium is the activator. Magnesium is a relaxer. So there's this balance between magnesium and calcium that's very important. And because people usually get enough calcium, but they don't get enough magnesium, many people are operating hyperactively, either hypercontractions or cramping, or things aren't relaxed. Magnesium relaxes everything. So magnesium is very important for women who are dealing with anxiety issues, hyperthermia, hot flashes, night sweats, all things that happen with menopause. Magnesium has a calming effect. Magnesium also helps you fall asleep at night. A lot of women who have who are dealing with menopausal issues can't sleep. Magnesium helps you relax you. It's a calming hormone or calming nutrient. Selenium helps balance out estrogen. It's involved in estrogen metabolism. So anybody who's dealing with any kind of estrogen issues, selenium is beneficial. And what was the other one that you said? The fourth one? There's a fourth one.
The fourth one was, that's it. Magnesium, selenium, omega-3s.
Oh, omega-3s likewise, anti-inflammatory, calming. They balance out omega-6s, and omega-6s, there's a lot more omega-6s in the body and in nature than there are omega-3s. Omega-3s are almost like a condiment. They're sprinkled in the body, but it's very difficult to get omega-3s, particularly if you're eating processed oils. So omega-3s have a calming effect. Magnesium has a calming effect. Selenium helps balance that estrogen, and vitamin D is important for absolutely everything.
Okay, next question. I've got two more questions. Does chronic nutrient depletion change estrogen handling or tissue growth patterns?
100%. 100%. Estrogen requires nutrients to be broken down. Vitamin C, magnesium, copper. There's a lot of selenium. There's a lot of nutrients that are important for the breakdown of estrogen. The whole detoxification system, it has to be operating at peak efficiency for you to be clearing out estrogen, especially considering xenoestrogens and how estrogen dominant people are, because they're subjecting themselves to sunscreens and pesticides and plastics and phthalates and new car smells, fragrances, perfumes. All of these things add up. So many of us are dealing with estrogen toxicity or over estrogenized. That's what estrogen dominance is. And nutrients will absolutely help balance out and help detoxify estrogen. Probably the most important is not a detoxifier, but it's a progesterone, which balances out estrogen. And again, I have an awesome progesterone serum. If you're interested, reach out to me at truthtreatments.com or just send me an email. Also, clearing estrogen out through the bowels. If you're constipated, you're not going to clear out your estrogen. And what's worse is it will recirculate and become more potent. And sometimes it's not the estrogen that's the problem. It's they call them catechol estrogens. Catechol is like you can think of catechol like speed, like amphetamine. Amphetamine is amphetamine because of catechol. So you've got estrogen, which is already going to hype you up. It's already a stimulant, and now you stuck a catechol on it, and you got a catechol estrogen that puts it through the roof. And catechol estrogens are really problematic. Those are breakdown products of estrogen or derivatives of estrogen that build up when you're not clearing out estrogen. So yes, estrogen nutritional supplementation is extremely important. All the B vitamins, by the way, are very, very important for estrogen metabolism, particularly vitamin B6, but all of them.
All right, and I wanted to bring up, because you brought up sunscreen again, but since I've been on the 90 Essential Nutrients Pharmacist Ben, I can go outside.
Yeah. Is that interesting?
And I don't turn red within 5-10 minutes. It's like I fell asleep in the sun today. And
is that interesting? And by the way, histamine is a major player in skin sensitivities. For people who react to everything, histamine. For people who react to everything or who are very sensitive to the sun, oftentimes histamine's involved. Histamine will make you break out when you take a hot shower. You ever hear people take a hot shower and they'll get rashes from the hot shower? That's histamine. Or sometimes people will say they're allergic to the sun. You ever hear that? You're allergic to the sun? People say they're allergic to the sun.
I used to be allergic to the sun.
That's classic histamine response. You can't think about it. How could you possibly be allergic to the sun? I mean, it's the sun. What are you going to do? Stay inside? Never go out in the sun? You can't be allergic to the sun. It's not possible, but you can have a histamine response, and that can sensitize the skin. Histamine is a major, major player, and nobody's really talking about that. Although you're going to start to hear more about it. I'm starting to hear it a little bit. There's something called MCAS. Have you heard of MCAS? Mast Cell Activation Syndrome. MCAS. So you're going to start to hear more and more about that. It's already starting to get out there a little bit. Okay, got one more for me?
Yes, I do. Wyoming Annie wants to have you tell us how I-26 works.
So yes, so we said earlier how you have bacteria in the large intestine, some in the small, but you don't want a lot of bacteria in the small intestine, right? If you have a lot of bacteria in the small intestine, that's when you get the bloating or the gas, because the bacteria eat the food. You're not supposed to have bacteria eating the food. Bacteria is supposed to be in the large intestine. But bacteria in the small intestine, they can eat the food, and you get gas and bloating and leaky gut and inflammation and problems absorbing nutrients. It's a big mess. So killing those bacteria is an important strategy. I-26 is made from eggs that have been laid by chickens who were inoculated with an antigen so that they would produce antibodies. Those antibodies come out, and the antibodies are like heat-seeking missiles that kill specific bacteria. Think of an antibody as a bullet that's specific for specific bacteria. So the chickens make these bullets after they've been injected with antigens, with poisons, stimulants. The stimulant stimulates the bullet. The bullet comes out in the egg. The egg is dehydrated into a powder, and I-26 is that egg powder. They call it hyperimmune egg powder. Hyperimmune meaning it stimulates the immune system because it's got these bullets, these heat-seeking missiles, these antibodies in the egg powder. And they specifically kill certain bacteria in the intestine for people who have SIBO.
Okay. I-26 hyperimmune
egg, yes.
Yes, you want to get with your longevity distributor and ask them for I-26. And if you don't have a distributor, you can always go to dailywithdoc.com. You can access all of the products that we talk about here, except for Pharmacist Ben's special progesterone cream. You got to talk to him about that one.
It's a serum.
Call 855-949-3377 to get connected with a young certified holistic health coach who is also a longevity distributor. So Pharmacist Ben, thank you so much. Now, Kenya says I need the sunscreen you mentioned. I was told I'm allergic to the sun.
Who said they're allergic to the sun? Kenya?
Kenya.
Is that Kenya's the sister, or is she the guy we talked to?
The sister.
Now the sister. I got the whole family going on here. Antoinette, Kenya. What was the other gal's name? Kiana, and Kenya and Antoinette. Yes, my dear, Kenya. That's a histamine response. You're not allergic to the sun. That's a histamine response. What you should be using is zinc oxide. If you want the best sunscreen you'll ever use, sun protection you'll ever use, I don't like the word sunscreen, but sun protection you'll ever use is my XenoBlock. Go to truthtreatments.com and get XenoBlock. I don't know if people know, I formulate skincare products. I have a very extensive line of skincare products. Truthtreatments.com. I usually don't talk about it, but I'm going to start talking about it. Truthtreatments.com. And they're not a joke skincare product. Most skincare products are a joke. These are not joke skincare products. These are very, very serious skincare products, all formulated in my pharmacy.
And it only takes a tiny little bit.
Only takes a tiny bit. And you know what? You should only need a tiny bit. If you need more than a tiny bit of product, that tells you got a watered down, diluted BS product. And that's all I'll say, because I step on toes when I talk about skincare. Don't want to step on any toes. So Kenya, treat that as a histamine issue. And by the way, there's a condition called dermographia, where you take your finger and you can sign your name in your skin. Have you ever seen this? You sign your name in the skin. You take your fingernail and you write your name, and there'll be a little raised area where you signed your name. You can actually see your name in your skin. That's a classic histamine response. Okay? And then Kenya, you might try.
I don't have that histamine response.
It's a very good thing you don't. As some people, like I say, in the shower or their bra strap. I've seen women with their bra strap, and they'll get this rash right where they put their bra strap, or the bra strap was. Also, go online, Kenya, and get DAO, diamine oxidase capsules, and see if that helps you with the sun. And then, of course, all the digestive stuff we talked about.
So, yes, you can get the digestive stuff by calling 855-949-3377. That is the Daily with Doc team. That is the parent of the Pharmacist Ben Bites. So thank you, AJ, for giving me this opportunity to fill in for you. I know you're doing some great things where you're at, and thank you so much for jumping in and doing some comments and questions and helping us make sure everything was right. Pharmacist Ben, we've got a great team. We are so thankful that you are part of that team.
Well, and thank you. I'm honored to be part. Thank you. Yes, we are looking for more. Absolutely. We need more people. We need distributors. We need distributors.
Because there's how many million people in the United States?
350.
Longevity is international?
350 million people in the United States. Yes, and international too. That's right. All right. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Ruth Ellen. Thank you, everybody who's on the call. And we'll see you on Friday.
All right. Sounds good. Pharmacist Fridays on Daily with Doc, folks. That is 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern. And you can join us live in the Zoom or watch us here on this channel by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Pharmacist Ben, have a fantastic evening, and thank you so much for being here with us as we once again empower more individuals on what they can do themselves to be healthier. And we're fixing the root, not just fixing the fruit, like all the many different specialists are looking at. So have a great one, everybody. Again, that's 855-949-3377 if you do not already have a longevity distributor. And until next time, bye for now.